Joining me now to talk about the long-awaited crackdown against sanctuary cities, or as some call them, outlaw cities, and of course Attorney General Sessions and a Trump administration committed to the enforcement of our laws. Joining us, Michelle Malkin, host of Michelle Malkin Investigates on CRTV.com. Great to have you with us, Michelle. This is an extraordinary moment for many of us who've covered this issue, as you and I have for some time. It's fantastical to think that there is an administration and an attorney general actually going to enforce the laws of immigration in this country and insist upon cooperation and compliance by the cities to American law.
Lou, it is a great day for America, for law-abiding citizens, for law-abiding immigrants and naturalized citizens as well, who understand that this is the primary duty of the federal government to defend and protect the Constitution, our rule of law, law and order, public safety, and our sovereignty. And I am in Denver, and I think it's significant that Attorney General Jeff Sessions mentioned specifically a horrific case here where the police ignored an ICE detainer and allowed an illegal alien from Mexico to be released, who then went on to murder a young man at a Denver train station, light rail station here in Denver. And yet you have these open borders zealots and ideologues meeting in New York, as you mentioned, Lou, who are denying the bloody reality of these sanctuary jurisdictions. I hope and pray, Lou, that this is only the start, because this order, of course, deals with cities, municipalities, and states. But there are so many other government entities that are also defying law and are also violating Section 1373, which Attorney General Sessions has cited. For example, here in Denver, the Denver Public Schools have explicitly declared themselves a sanctuary or an outlaw jurisdiction, as I call them, in the public schools. That kind of defiance needs to be punished in the very same way in the pocketbook.
Yeah, and that defiance extends across 300 jurisdictions, as we said here tonight. 25 states have, to their credit, moved to stop any, prohibit any sanctuary policies on the part of any jurisdiction within those states. But it's also a time where the administration needs to go beyond this and say, we're going to absolutely insist on schools, any other jurisdiction, but particularly schools, complying with law. And we need to hear more information from our federal government. You can't find out readily how many illegal immigrants are in our schools, the cost that is there. It's estimated, but of course there's no record of it because it is politically incorrect. And then you have all sorts of organizations, nonprofits, that are being funded by the federal government to be activists supporting illegal immigration. And that's got to stop too.
Exactly right, Lou. This is a very trenchant point that you're making. I hope it goes all the way to the top of the White House in terms of the need for absolute transparency and the game playing that goes on, because a lot of these government entities, a lot of these nonprofits will play games and say, well, we haven't formally or explicitly declared ourselves sanctuary jurisdictions, outlaw jurisdictions, and yet de jure and de facto, this is in fact what they are doing. I think every one of these nonprofits, and in particular churches that benefit from IRS nonprofit status, that are acting openly as sanctuaries for illegal aliens, throwing open their doors, advertising it, need to be punished as well. Yeah.
I want to turn to this extraordinary moment where conservatives were being condemned by some members of the Trump administration for not going along with a bad bill, only 17% of the country supporting it, a bill that across the board conservative organizations said was not worth a tinker's dam, and yet the response of Reince Priebus and others was, well, we're going to be working with the same Democrats who have been frustrating this administration at every turn, instead of trying to create a terrific piece of legislation. I mean, this is an upside-down moment for some of the president's advisors.
I'll say. It's Alice in Wonderland plus Kafka plus Orwell all rolled into one. And it's one of the reasons I hate the Beltway swamp so much, Lou. Matt Drudge had a very trenchant comment himself on Twitter the other day. He said, the swamp drains you. And I can't but think that President Trump is feeling pretty drained right now. You know, he was elected and with a mandate to change business as usual. And any way you slice it, this Rhino Care, this Ryan Care, Swamp Care was Beltway business as usual, textbook to the T.
Michelle, as always, great to see you. Thanks for being with us. Michelle Malkin.
You too. Thanks.
Take care.